Hi again, this is Professor Innes, and you are now on the module to do with classical utilitarianism. You've already done the introduction to ethics and the study of moral theories, and already dealt with Epicurus and Kant. So with Kant, we've got a real opposite to, well, not a real opposite, but a contrary argument to Bentham's position that we must carry out acts for their own sake. With Bentham, the utilitarian we're discussing in this module, he's going to reject that type of thinking and argue that deontological arguments are a waste of time. They don't produce any given moral worth at the end of the day. In fact, they could be detrimental to any moral worth. So if we think about the example of saving the child or going to the lunch appointment, for Bentham, we're going to find out that he would get us out of that moral dilemma by simply saying that we work out on the calculus, the hedonic calculus, which one will produce the greatest amount of pleasure. So with that, we work it out and we find out after our calculation that saving the child produces more pleasure. It is great for the child, him or herself, the parents, the relatives, the local community will get a nice story from it, and you might even be happy as well from it, you never know. So with that, Bentham is arguing here we must calculate the amount of pleasure we get from given acts. We must reject the deontological view of thinking about the act as being carried out for its own sake. Carrying out acts for their own sake just don't make much sense in the world in which we live, which is based upon selfish people who are just out for themselves. It would be great if people could exact the categorical imperative, put it into action, and it brings along the good. But people are selfish. If they do have free will, as Kant said we have free will, they probably would abuse it anyway. So I know that to not lie is the preferable option, but I'm going to work out if it's going to benefit me first before I say lying is a bad thing. And I might even use this rather seemingly pompous argument put forward by Kant, as a critique, by the way. I might even use this pompous argument to make myself look better, therefore morally upstanding in the community. Right, so even then we're being selfish and just using things to get things our own way. So it seems that, according to Bentham, Kant's argument is impossible. Yes, it would be nice if it worked, like we just said, but it doesn't. And we don't have the moral integrity to carry it out in the first place. We're selfish and greedy, according to Bentham, and we carry out acts for our own benefit. Therefore, we need a system which is going to be in tune with human nature, and therefore going to provide us with a system, a method, which is going to allow us to make moral decisions. So here, you've got a big decision to make with Bentham. If you prefer Bentham over Kant instead of Kant, then you're going to say goodbye to rights. These individual, social, political, civil rights which we hold dear. If it's the case we're all selfish and greedy and just out for ourselves, we're not likely to respect the rights of others. So it looks like the authorities, whether in a workplace, local community, government, wherever, are going to enforce our actions. And they're not going to be too bothered about rights, because it doesn't look like we know what they are in the first place. So if we accept Bentham, we're going to say goodbye to rights. We tend to like these things called rights. We're going to discuss these later in politics, but nonetheless they're important within moral thinking as well. So we say goodbye to these rights. What does that mean? We have a legislative process whereby it's calculated how much pleasure is going to be gained from a particular policy. These policies are seen as relevant and useful if they have the purpose of producing pleasure. So in Boise, we've got the air emissions testing for the cars. Right, so I guess we're doing this to keep the air as clean as possible, so therefore we can have a pleasurable life. with that said, we're not concerned about the rights of other people necessarily. If you drive in your 15-year-old car to the test and it fails, and you have to spend hundreds to have it fixed, then your rights have just been violated. Your choice to drive your old car as you see fit, and that choice is being has been suppressed here for the good of the greater amount of people. So for utilitarianism, that's good. Your car will be off the road, no more pollution from that car, or little pollution. But at the same time, your rights have been violated, if these rights at all exist. But by this time, utilitarianism says, right, they're just words bandied about by certain people who really don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, so for the utilitarian, rights are a nonsense, so we've said goodbye to them. So the point now would be careful about accepting utilitarianism. As a philosopher, you've got problems in accepting it. And these utilitarian acts can seem quite barbaric. Every time we go to war, it's calculated how many people are going to die. So in that sense, the officials calculate so many hundred are going to die or so many thousands, and if it's worth it. And then they say if it's not that too many people who are going to die, then it's worth it. So people are going to die. So we think to ourselves, well, what about their rights? Don't they have any rights to live? Surely something's wrong here, isn't it? What we say is we feel uneasy about utilitarianism, but we then calculate and say it provides a great amount of pleasure. So I guess we have to accept it, but we're accepting it very, very grudgingly, very hesitatingly. If, of course, we do accept it at all. You can go on away and totally reject utilitarianism if you so wish, with a good argument, of course. But that's the situation with utilitarianism. Now, I'm changing things here as far as the journal is concerned. Quite a few of you are not watching these or listening to these videos, so I'm going to put in the reply you are going to submit in the video recording. So your reply will be put forward. You put forward your initial entry. That's what you write, part of your interpretation of this particular module, which is on Bentham at the moment. And then I write to you, and this is what you're going to write as the third portion. To you, it's your second entry for that particular journal. For the overall journal, it's the third one. It's the one that comes after my entry. And here I am going to write down, please go to the video recording and get the details needed for your reply. So don't do this one as the first one. This is your second entry, which is the third entry overall. And what you need to do for your second entry for this particular module, for your journal, is give 3 examples of utilitarian conduct. Give 3 examples of utilitarian conduct. One more time. Give 3 examples of utilitarian conduct. For example, telling a lie to a gunman so the gunman goes away and leaves you alone. For Kant, that's not acceptable. You've lied. You've said that lying is wrong. So therefore, lying under all circumstances is wrong. Now, with the utilitarian, you weigh up. This is not a terrible lie. It's just a white lie, and it's going to save people's lives. So I think one white lie weighed against the saving of lives of others, and possibly oneself, is worthwhile. It's a good trade, because us being killed is of great consequence, and telling a white lie is of little consequence. So therefore, tell the lie. So that would be an example of utilitarian conduct. So again, what you're going to do is give 3 examples of utilitarian conduct. Okay, I hope everything is okay. Please do let me know if you need anything, and enjoy this particular module. We're getting on nicely within this course, understanding what is philosophy, and not putting forward solutions, realizing we're just dealing with problems. We can't solve these problems. There wouldn't be in a philosophy book if they had been solved. So we have them. That's what we do in philosophy. Okay, please let me know if you need anything, and enjoy this module. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.